this video is probably going to be the hardest video I've ever made on my channel. But I wanted to share some stuff that I don't think I've ever shared with anyone ever, except for my very close best friend. I will not name names, but bestie, if you're watching this, you know who you are. So, me and that friend, we've been friends for like, I believe 11 years, 10 or 11 years, I think. But yeah, I'm going to be showing some triggering, like there's going to be one triggering image in this video, so I'll put the trigger warning on right now. Let's get one thing clear. I'm going to make one thing very, very crystal clear, okay? I'm going to make actually two things crystal clear. Okay, so excuse me. First of all, I will not be naming any specific names. I will not disclose who they are because the majority of these people did change their names so many times to where like their old accounts don't exist, like, and I'm pretty sure that some of the people involved in this aren't even alive anymore. And I know that sounds dramatic, but you're gonna understand why I think that once I explain. So, I know that a lot of you guys know that I technically started creating content professionally in 2016. It was right before Vine, the social media app called Vine, shut down for a year. I had a solid following on Vine, like 100 and something followers, I believe. However, there's some things I've experienced that no one should ever have to experience. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. This is a really hard video, and I'm sorry if I get emotional in this video because I haven't talked about this very much except for like 2-3 other people in my life, and I'm not joking. I am not joking around. I am dead serious. I've only told like 3 people about what has happened to me. Nothing physically happened to me, by the way. Well, other than my suicide attempt, which I will also talk about in this video. So, in 2015, I became legally old enough to own social media profiles. And at first, everything was awesome. I got my Facebook. I still use Facebook, but only for like keeping in contact with some of my family members. And also occasionally posting coffee memes on there. No, I will not disclose what my Facebook is because that's for only my family and friends to know about. No one else. And I don't think you guys will be able to find me on there, to be honest. Because I generally don't really post about my social media career. I do have a Facebook page, like a public one, but I rarely ever use that. And for some odd reason, I get more views on there, even though literally most people my age don't use Facebook anymore. I'm in my early 20s, so but anyway, in 2015 I had a tick that caused me to move my hand in front of the camera. But in 2015 I became a content creator. I was known as a different username, and that username is 012002. Just Google 012002 and you'll find a DeviantArt page that looks like this. Now, I created this page very, 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 like 6 or 7 months, I think, after actually 3 months after my 13th birthday. Because if I remember correctly, I created it somewhere in March 5th or 6th or 7th, I don't remember. But the reason why I created it was because, like, a friend of mine, let's call her R, she was like, your art is really, really good, and you're really funny, and you should start making content on the internet. So, my friend was like, you would be really, really good at digital art, I could tell. And I'm like, digital art? I don't know what that is. And she introduced me to digital art. And as you could see, like, when you look at my old DeviantArt page, I used bases a lot. And because I wasn't confident enough to post my actual art style, even though I did post my real art style once in a while, I got shamed for my art either way. Well, actually, the bases are not my art, but any art related thing I did, I would always get shamed. And that's why I don't post my art as much anymore, because I'm afraid of people shaming me for my art. But you could always see it in the background, like the hat thing I made, the 2 paintings on the, actually 3 on the left, but the one with the flowers that says, I think it says blessed. I did not make that. That was there when I moved into my my room for rent with, like, my other roommates. And I also make my own, like, bracelets and stuff, so you might have seen me wear my own bracelets that I made in some of my videos. And I also have some drawings of mine on the walls of my room, but I don't post my posts don't focus on my art because, like, I'm afraid of getting shamed for my art. On my Twitter I do post porn I draw, though I don't post porn of myself, except for, like, just showing off a little bit of cleavage, but not like full on porn, just like thirst traps. But excuse me. Oh my god. But yeah, on DeviantArt I got bullied very heavily. It was the first time that I experienced bullying of such a massive magnitude. Like, I literally got hundreds upon hundreds of comments. You will not see them on my DeviantArt page though, because I managed to delete them all before, like a couple of days before I decided to abandon that page, for multiple reasons, which will put a pin in that, and I'll explain that later on in the video. But yeah, I got literally hundreds of comments saying how my art is ugly and that none of my art is authentic, which I think it's fair enough for them to question the authenticity of the digital art I did, because some of it was not fully authentic. Some of it I used the pictures of like screenshots of anime, and I traced the anime characters, or I would use bases. I still use bases, but not for commercial purposes, only for like practicing shading and stuff. I play around and experiment with those. Yeah, so I was shamed a lot for my art. A lot of my other friends left DeviantArt for similar reasons, because a lot of the people on there are just goddamn toxic. They will shame you if your art doesn't look like it would be worth millions of dollars. Like, people would shame you if you did even the smallest thing wrong, or like if your character looked too similar to their character, or if like people would also shame each other for their art just because they just don't like their like views on life, or like they just don't like them as a person, or if they don't. And here's where it starts to get triggering in this video, so this is your last chance to click off, okay? I am not going to be warning you again. This is your last chance to click off this video. Okay? Okay. But people would also bully you into making not safe for work art for free. And unfortunately, I fell victim to that. I'm sorry I had to stop recording for a second because I needed to catch my breath, and also Pepsi is a de-stressor. Yes, I drink Pepsi out of a 2-liter bottle. Most of my family members have done this, so don't judge me. Ooh. Excuse me. But yeah, sorry, I had to do that bit in the video. I had to like make this slightly funny in order for me to be able to talk about this stuff without breaking down and crying, you know. I know, like, I don't really consider this trauma because it happened online. It did not happen in real life. And trauma is, by definition, trauma is a real life event that has happened to you that results in extreme distress and helplessness and anxiety as well as depression, and has other lasting effects more often than not for the rest of your life. And given the like amount of shit I've researched. I don't consider what I went through in regards to being part of DeviantArt as trauma. I just consider it a kind of bad event, and I'll explain why I believe that DeviantArt kind of did contribute to my psychosis in a really, really bad way. But yeah, but as I was saying, I would be guilt-tripped into sending people NSFW art. Thankfully, I managed to muster up the courage to say no every time someone asked me for IRL nudes. I am really, really thankful that my parents taught me bodily autonomy at a really early age. Like, I remember, like, some of the earliest memories involving my mother and my father. My dad, my mom would, like, she would say in a polite way, like, if you don't want somebody touching your body, say no. And if they keep doing it, tell somebody. And she would also explain there are bad people who will try to hurt you and try to take advantage of you in unspeakable ways. And you have to try your best to protect yourself. And if you don't feel comfortable doing something with someone, you don't have to do it. You are able to withdraw consent at any time. And the way that my dad taught me about bodily autonomy, this is actually a little funny. Like, the way my dad taught me was, like, if somebody touches you in a way you don't like, just tell them to fuck themselves or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he's like, just tell them to fuck off. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. I mean, my dad isn't exactly wrong, so, but luckily I managed to say no to, like, people, like, trying to groom me into sending nudes. For those of you guys who don't know, grooming is a manipulation technique that predators use on either children or teenagers. More often than not, it's like children and from child, like, more often than not, from what I've read and from the amount of people I've talked to who were a victim of grooming, the majority of them told me that it starts in early childhood all the way up until teenagehood. And sometimes it does stop if they lose interest. But most of the time it does not stop. Most of the time when it does stop, it's usually because the like, either the victim, like, retaliates in some way, or the police get involved. In a lot of cases, however, it continues on into adulthood. And 2015 was one of the years that my depression and my anxiety started to get horribly bad, to the point where I needed medical intervention for it. But, like, this is hard to talk about. Holy shit. I haven't talked about this to, like, anyone other than very close friends and one or two family members. I don't remember how many people know about this, but yeah, I would always be pressured into drawing certain things that I did not want to draw. Like, luckily only one of the NSFW pictures I drew is up on my DeviantArt, and it was only because I actually did want to draw that one. The other ones, it was just sent to other people. But basically, I would get death threats for not drawing NSFW art. And I would also like have people threaten to leak my address. And they would threaten to do sexual things to some of my, at the time, online friends. I honestly doubt that most of them are even alive right now. I don't think most of them are alive because all of us, we were all like fucked up in the head, like really bad. We were all depressed. We all had like eating disorder problems. We all had some sort of bad event that resulted in like us being fucked up in the head. For me, the bad event being that my genetics, I was born fucked up, so that's the bad event that led to me having depression and anxiety, because in my family, it runs in my family. Almost every single person in my family has it to some degree. And same with obsessive compulsive disorders. And that did put me at higher risk for having an eating disorder because I do have some obsessive compulsive tendencies, which I've been working on. I've gone a lot better throughout the years. But like some of my online friends from back then, I know for certain that one of them did die. I know for certain that one of them died. It's really hard to like, it's really hard to talk about this, you know? I haven't really told all this to anybody outside of very, very, very close friends. One particular friend I was close with online, she was severely suicidal, and she didn't even live in the US. She lived in the Philippines. And I found out she's still alive now, thankfully. She is in college for digital art and graphic design, I think. And I'm glad that, you know, she made it out okay and she's making something of her life, you know. And most of my online friends from back then are either dead or they've been institutionalized or like sorry, it stopped recording. Some of them just stopped using social media altogether. Some of them died of either suicide or they died from an eating disorder. Because what we all had in common was that we all had eating disorders that were undiagnosed, and we all self-harmed, and all of us were like suicidal except for like one person. I hate to admit it, but we all taught each other how to self-harm. We all taught each other how to self-harm, how to like restrict food, how to binge, how to purge, because we all thought that we were helping each other. We all thought we were helping each other get what we all wanted out of life. But the reality is, we weren't. We were hurting not only each other, but ourselves as well. It was horrible. We were all in pro self-harm and pro eating disorder communities too. I was the most active in the pro self-harm community and pro health, not pro health, pro eating disorder community. And you know the most fucked up part of that is that part of me kind of misses it. Part of me still misses being in the pro eating disorder and pro self-harm community. Because it would feel good in a weird way to compete with other people to see who could injure themselves the worst, or who could go the longest without eating, or who could binge and purge the most. It's fucked up, man. It's like really fucked up. And I don't think I'll ever be able to like not miss it, you know? I'm all for pro recovery now. But part of me misses being in that, in a pro self-harm and pro eating disorder community online. Part of me will probably always miss it, because all of us thought that we were helping each other, when in reality we were doing more damage not only to each other, but ourselves as well. And it like it really fucked me up, and it fucked up a lot of other people involved. I wish I would have, like, you know, known that I was hurting other people. I hurt a lot of people. I had no idea I was hurting people, you know? I thought I was doing the right thing. I know that sounds really fucked up, but I thought I was doing the right thing. But I wasn't. I was causing more harm than good. And I'll show you guys some photos of me during that time frame. Yeah, those are me. I had to like calm down because I know I have to like take breaks while filming this, because talking about some of this shit has made me really emotional in the past. And I did almost have an anxiety attack recording this. But yeah, that was me. And Yeah, that was me. Oh, excuse me. I just coughed and burped at the same time. But yeah, that was me. Part of me misses being so sick in the head. Part of me does not want recovery. But I know that recovery will be worth it someday. And I'm still trying to recover, and I'm still trying to unlearn these really unhealthy coping mechanisms and learn new ones. It's so fucked up that everyone that I knew was trapped in these toxic environments, and most of us had no other place to go because most of the people I talked to also had abusive parents or a abusive partner, and they had no other place to turn to, and it's really messed up. It's really, really messed up. As far as I know, the majority of us were groomed into being a part of these communities. I personally don't think I was, because I never, did any sexual favors, physically, you know? Not even a picture of my body, you know? Absolutely not. Not even a picture of my body. I'm sorry. And that in 2015 is when I started self-harming. And I've always had restrictive eating ever since I was a kid, so I don't know when that started. But in 2019, that is when I started binging and purging. Well, I've always had a problem with binge eating, so I guess technically the binging part started in 2016. But the purging did not start until 2019. Like the throwing up kind of purging. I used to purge in other ways. Like from 2016 to 2019, I used to purge by going a day without eating, and then another day binging everything in sight, and then another couple days without eating, and then a couple days of binging. But yeah, in 2016, my mom decided to check me into a long-term inpatient facility, and she told me that I am not allowed to ever go on DeviantArt ever again, because she doesn't know about everything that took place there. I know that for a fact, but she did know that I was being manipulated on there, and other people were trying to take advantage of me. So she said, "You're not allowed to go on there ever again." At the time, I was angry at her. I didn't understand why I was angry, but looking back, I was emotionally attached to the people who, like, pressured me into drawing explicit pictures that I was not comfortable with drawing. I had an emotional attachment to them. I don't know how to describe it, but I had a severe emotional attachment to them, to the point where I would always seek out reassurance from them. I would seek out validation from these people, and I would, like, seek out, like, reassurance from these people. And it was fucked up, man. It was really fucked up. Looking back at when my mom took me away from DeviantArt, I'm really glad she did. Because I could have gotten, like, actually groomed. But I didn't. And I will always be thankful for her saving me from that platform, because the people who run DeviantArt, I honestly, like, at first I thought they just didn't know about the predator problem. But when I did more research on them as a whole company, I found out, oh no, they are very well aware. They are very well aware of the predatory shit that goes on there. They just don't care enough to do anything about it, which is fucked up. And it's part of the reason why I hate predators so much, because of what I witnessed other people go through, and even though what I've gone through is really, really, really not that bad, what I've gone through is the reason why I hate predators so much, to the point where I want anybody who's a pedophile to be on death row, to be honest. And I literally have dreams of me killing pedophiles, so I'm not even kidding. I do have dreams of that. But yeah, in 2017, I did briefly come back to DeviantArt, but then I decided to leave permanently. I'll show you the last selfies I took when I left DeviantArt. Those were the last selfies I took before I permanently left DeviantArt. But yeah. So after I left DeviantArt, I still went through more years of not accepting myself and not accepting and respecting my body, up until 2023, when someone I knew almost died from addiction. And in 2018, I believe, someone in my family died as well. 3 or 4 people I knew had addiction problems, and some of them did die, and some of them almost died, and I almost died from my eating disorder twice. Not even kidding. I almost died. And how I knew this was I felt my body just giving up. Like 2 times in my life. In 2020 and 2022. Actually, 2021. And in 2022 is when I decided I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be bedridden because of pain all over my body. I don't want to cut myself anymore. Even though I'm addicted to cutting myself, I don't want to have this addiction anymore. I wanted to recover. I wanted to live on my own. I wanted to have a new life. And right on Mother's Day, I decided enough is enough. I'm gonna recover, or at least try to. And so I've been in recovery for 1 year exactly. Well, actually almost 1 year. On Mother's Day will mark 1 year of recovery, of me trying to recover. And actually trying to recover from all of my mental health shit. And some advice I would like to give to the next generation of children born, or people younger than me, or people right now in their 20s, or even older, just people in general. The advice I would give you is don't settle for a person who only values you for specific things. Settle for someone who will treat you the way you want to be treated. Settle for someone who knows you and who loves you. And if nobody in your life supports you, you have to support yourself. You don't have to love yourself immediately. I definitely don't love myself. I actually still really hate myself. But you have to learn to accept yourself. And acceptance will eventually lead to loving yourself. Some people it might take only a couple days. Some people it will take years. For me, it took several years to get to the point where I could look in the mirror and say, I don't like what I see, but I accept what I see. I accept that this is me, and the only person who could keep me going and keep me keeping me above water, I guess you could say, is me. You don't have to be all the way out of the water on your own. You need support, obviously. But if you're able to peek your face up to the surface, and you're able to breathe, and that is the best you could do, then that's the best you could do. Get people in your life who will support you. Go to therapy, or do whatever makes you happy or helps you feel better. But that's it for today's video. My name is Little Mix Star, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.